something investigative, so they're useful to society, but also they're like Buzzfeed.
Send the Matrix.
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm sure. I should be.
Did you hear that, Dan?
Something
No.
investigative. So
Christian's audio got real like glitchy for a second. Was that just me?
that might have. I don't know. That might have been. I could not
Weird.
entirely tell you.
Hmm.
Anyway, let me. Whoops, wrong TWI website. That's Twitch. I want. Yeah. Also, I just made a brand new Twitter just for streaming stuff. I like it much better. I have a film Twitter. Yeah, I have a film Twitter and a streaming Twitter now. It's also funny because I follow a lot of writers on Twitter, but they just talk about writing the way people talk on LinkedIn, and I'm just like, I get it, but couldn't you just spend this energy writing?
Yeah.
That's just like that sounds
also-
super judgmental. I'll get yelled at if this clip ever goes viral, but that's just me.
No, because we all could be doing more. We all could be doing more writing if we didn't.
Like,
we
people-
didn't talk about writing.
Episode 4, the pillars of salt, saltiest EDH cards. Support us, you scumbags. No, I'm not gonna put that. Okay, and then I'll post this bad boy in my Discord. All right. Well, I am ready.
I believe I am as well. Let me just move my things around.
God, that's so dumb.
There you go.
What's done?
Oh, you are. I'm just reading one of the articles we were talking about.
Okay,
Did you
well,
go live, Chris?
yeah,
you
I'm,
go live, Christian?
I'm live. Let's do intros
All right, I'll go live
first.
too.
I sincerely apologize to everyone watching this. We're very low rent, so this is how we start. We go live and then we actually go live 2 minutes later.
Well, we're like every podcast, you know. We have all like the basic stuff going beforehand.
We are three white guys. We already have it built into our show's DNA.
Exactly.
But yes,
And I just went live.
for those of you who don't know who we are, we're Fun with Nothing. I'm Christian.
Nothing.
The person to my left is Dan. The person under me is Jason. We talk about Magic. That's what we do. We talk about news. We talk about our favorite cards. We talk about play styles. We talk about where the game is. We talk about the community. We talk about a lot of things. We get sidetracked to make fun of Joe Rogan sometimes. It's called punching up. It's an art form.
Did you guys know that he's literally 5'3"?
I saw that plane that like flew around.
I thought it was Sky Braille.
I didn't hear. I spent a lot of time inside this weekend, so
Someone rented a plane to fly around. I guess it was like downtown LA, right, or like Los
Yeah.
Angeles. That said Joe Rogan is literally 5'3" on it.
Yeah. Well,
That's
they
pretty great.
spelled literally though. That was the best part. It's like
Yeah.
likely 5'3".
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Oh man.
yeah.
Joe Rogan's.
All right.
But
He
yeah,
does.
Jason, do you want to go over the agenda for today?
Yeah, we'll just talk about a few news stories and stuff like that, and then we'll transition into our main segment of ranking the 20 saltiest cards. And is it like most played, Dan? You did like most played saltiest cards, and according to EDH Rec.
The top 20. The top 20 saltiest cards based on EDH Rec's number of decks in.
Oh, okay, that's
Actually
really cool.
Yeah, I took some screenshots of a couple of them. I took some screenshots of the list so we could see sort of numbers, but it's just kind of cut off a little bit on the last set, but that doesn't really matter. It's the bottom. Who cares?
So it'll be like saltiest cards that you're most likely to play against at a commander table.
Exactly.
And like really like how bad is it going to be? How much you should be scared, stuff like that.
Exactly.
But before that, let's go into Modern Horizons 2 is out. I know Christian as our keeper upper but non-player, you haven't picked any up. Have you picked up any, Dan?
I have not, unfortunately. After our trip today to get Digimon stuff, I am done with my card budget for the month.
I totally hear that. You kind of have to pick your battles, and this is a really expensive set. I myself picked up a pre-release kit, and it was my promo wasn't great, but I got a Scalding Tarn, and I'm very happy about that.
That's good.
So, I'm excited about the set. I'm very excited to spend money on like $20 fetch lands, which is going to be hopefully. I mean, Modern Horizons 2, like Scalding Tarns from MH2 are like you can get them for like $35 on TCG Player like pre-sale.
That's
like that is like I paid like when I traded in like stuff to Card Kingdom like a long time ago, I got like Scalding Tarns for like 80 or 90 credit, and now they're like 35. So like I'm very happy with the reprints, because I have many decks that need them.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like, and that's what's so nice about it, right? Is the fact that it's like you don't even have to worry about like having to spend that much money. It's democratizing the fetch lands finally. Which I think we've needed something like that for a while. And I'm despite how expensive this set is, I'm very glad that it's like at least cooling off some stuff that has been prohibitively expensive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I do think personally they will go back up because they're needed in pretty much every format, and the fact that they will get cheaper means more people are going to want them for Commander. They're used all the time in like Legacy and Modern and stuff like that. Any format that can run fetch lands, like your deck uses fetch lands, so there's always going to be a need for them. But I'm really looking forward to that period of time where they're going to be $20, and I'm going to pick up a good amount for myself. So
I am quite excited.
What else do we have news-wise? So we talked a little bit about it, but the Post Malone episode of Game Nights went up. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but it seems to have generated a lot of hype.
Okay.
Good for him.
Like, like what type of hype? Like what's the Twitterverse saying about it? Just
I don't know. I'm gonna pull up on my end. Let's see if I can get a. Oh, hold on. I changed my password, so I have to put the new password in. The only Reddit post was like that I saw was like the episode is up, and none of the comments are about Magic. So I don't really trust that.
yeah,
Seems like kind of like judgmental.
It sounds like Post Malone people flooded brigaded the space.
Oh, so I did see that this old card, Mariki Re-Barrett. Let me see if I can screen share. Hold on.
Mariki Ray Barrett?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Asper, right?
Amy Coney Barrett?
Amy Coney Barrett.
Here, I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's full screen this bad boy.
So I guess I saw that this card went up overnight. I guess he plays it in his deck.
Yeah.
Doesn't untap during your
I feel like
untap.
that tends to happen with stuff like that. But this is really funny because Riley used to have a deck like this with this card. It was stupid how good it was.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's kind of like it's only a 1/1, so I can't imagine it's the hardest thing to deal with. But
No.
at the same time, it's a Post Malone kind of at least knows what he wants out of a deck. I can say that.
A lot of these are like weird. Jimmy Wong said, "Thanks, Daddy." That must be a reference to something, because otherwise that's just unusual.
Yeah, I can't.
He's one of the hosts on whatchamacallit, the show.
Oh, he's one of the people that I think that play with them on game nights,
Yeah,
right?
Big shout out to Tuka and Birdie. Hell yeah! So excited to see the rest of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should watch this actually. I don't really like watch game nights videos, but like I feel like this one looks pretty fun. Like it looks like he's having a good time,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like he's a fan of the game, so that's what I can always appreciate.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait,
actually
Jason, scroll up for a second. I love this one up more. There's a Fairly Odd Parents gif. Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
one. I love just like, bro, just let him play Magic. Drop it, like.
Yeah.
People,
Stop
artists,
doing things you like. Just
artists-
put out the things that I want.
artists don't owe you shit.
No, they don't.
God,
It don't. So it seems like most of the feedback is like people like talking about like, oh, I've never played before, or like, you know, this might be interesting, or. And then half the response is people talking about like drop the album. I don't know. I guess he has an album that people want out, but he seems like a cool guy, and hopefully it brings some more attention to the game, and you know,
Yeah.
pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I just know a lot of people were looking forward to that episode. So
Yeah, you know, I
I
mean,
figured it would be.
Magic doesn't have like a super dweeby reputation anymore, but still, when someone like Post Malone plays it helps.
Yeah. So what else do we have? Oh yeah, so, and I'm not going to share my screen because the video wasn't great or whatever. But I've heard from numerous sources that remember when we went over all the different types of like foiling and borders and all the crazy stuff that happened, like that's coming out with the collector's packs.
Yeah.
In the last episode. So apparently now, on top of all of that, the old border foils from collector's boxes are different from the old border foils from the set booster boxes. The set booster boxes don't have a foiling in the text box. So this is just another different iteration, and I'm telling you, it's going to make ordering these types of cards, like if you want a certain type of foiling, right, for your deck, you're basically just like rolling a dice on whether or not the merchant, unless it's like a crazy, like, I don't know. It feels like there's so many different variations. So I think with this, there's 9 variations of foilings you can get on like fetch lands and shit.
Holy crap! I can't believe that. That's nuts.
Yeah. So, and like they had the same thing with Strixhaven, like the set booster foils. The Japanese cards were different than the collector booster foils, and that was just like the tip of the iceberg, it seemed, you know. So just kind of ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, I just like, and like you said, it's going to dilute the market. So then like the collectors ones are probably going to be more expensive than like the standard set ones.
Yeah.
My God,
I can't wait to pick up some. I can't wait to pick up some cheap foil fetch lands from my treasure deck. That's gonna be awesome.
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
That is actually gonna be pretty sweet.
Because honestly, like that deck is like it has foils, but it doesn't have like the high end foil. Like I have a foil Soul Ring, but I don't have like a masterpiece foil Soul Ring. Like it's just whatever is shining, you know. And so like I'll take whatever cheapest shiny, because for the longest time like shiny Scalding Tarns were like almost like 200 or like 150, and I'm like, I'm not paying that. So
No, God no.
I'm not paying that. So different variations. What else? Let me see what else we have news. What? I have that opened up. Oh yeah. So then the only other bit of news I have is the Secret Lair news, which is that they're going to be doing. They announced another Universes Beyond collaboration, which is going to be what is it? Stranger Things. Stranger Things is going to be. They're going to be doing a Stranger Things Secret Lair with. It's going to be basically just like the Walking Dead Secret Lair. When it comes out, it's going to have mechanically unique cards. But I think 6 months later, those cards will be added to the list, which is a list of cards that you can pull from buying set booster packs.
Oh, is that what that was? Because I thought they were doing the Godzilla thing with it. Because that's what I was more for them doing, making them Godzilla, like the Godzillas where they're like done over cards that already exist.
So I think let me just double check this. I think what it is, and I could be wrong, is I think you are correct about that. So they're gonna maybe be released. They might be on the list, or they could be in a set that comes out later with a different name. It's gonna be like the Godzilla cards, though. Like they will be. I remember hearing that they will be available in future sets.
Let me take a look.
As not. You know, yeah. I just have a video up, but I'm not trying to watch a video right now, so
It's
I can
cool.
find.
I'm like flipping around. Traditionally, Secret Layers. 2020. Abilities problem. Okay. Traditionally, Secret Lair has been a way for Wizards to command premium price for popular cards with ultimate art. But in 2020, the publisher brought cards with unique abilities to the platform, cards that had no other corollaries in the retail version of the game. This is also on Polygon, by the way, sponsored content. Not really. Please, somebody sponsor us. That'd be sweet. I love money.
Right.
Blowback from the community has since been considerable, with players angered by the premium pricing for this new content. For the upcoming Stranger Things set, let me just make sure I get this person's name. Senior designer Gavin Verdi said in a video that Wizards will be publishing in-world Magic flavored versions of those cards at retail. The only substantive difference between Stranger Things cards from the Secret Lair and cards pulled from blind packs will be the art.
Right. Okay, so you can't pull, and I could be wrong, but I think that the way those cards in the Magic world will be distributed would be through the list. I don't think they would be in a set.
Right.
Okay,
so the next one is
straight.
we are putting copies of these cards, the in-world Magic flavored versions, on the list.
Okay.
That's really interesting because the list is awesome, but like it is really hard. Like if you're trying, like you don't open packs of set boosters to get something from the list. Like the odds of you getting a specific card from the list are so incredibly crazy, like low.
Yeah.
That they're going to be reprinted, but they're still going to be hard to get. An important distinction that I noticed is that they said in the article I was reading, this will not apply to The Walking Dead Secret Lair.
Why wouldn't you retroactively do that?
This will not apply to The Walking Dead Secret Lair. So with The Walking Dead Secret Lair, they basically effectively printed another set of reserve list cards. It's like whatever they printed is just the number that is out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I ever need like a card for if they print if I try to build a new deck and like, oh sweet, this Walking Dead card is going to be really good for this slot, just naturally for the play style or whatever, like I'm gonna have to spend like some crazy amount of money to get this card. It's dumb.
Yes, that sounds really dumb. Really dumb.
Yeah, I guess it's like contract reasons or I don't know, legal reasons.
Or whatever it is. Either way, I'm just glad that they're doing this with the Stranger Things stuff, because it's like now I don't have to see 300 Reddit threads about people complaining about this.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, like it is.
Were
we see it
people
exactly as we're talking?
were people going hard about demand? Like, I'm not
People were
surprised.
so mad.
The
People were
Walking
so
Dead
mad.
was like the worst feedback to like anything.
You thought they rehired Therese Nielsen to do art or something.
Yeah. Zing.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that in the first place? Why would you make, like, I understand the flavor. I understand that, like, you want to make them feel illustrious.
Kill me back.
I understand you want to make them feel special. I want to understand you want to do X, Y, and Z with it. But it's like, at the same time, like, bruh, just do what you did with the Godzilla cards. Like, it's that easy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Who knows what they think. I kind of wonder, like, where the copyright stuff comes into play with that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Corporate synergy exhausts me. Let's just say that.
Synergy.
Back, baby.
There he is. Hey.
Yeah, I need to like figure out why it does that.
Yeah. That's all good, buddy.
But it was like perfect timing. It was like a transition.
Yeah, it's a good
So.
transition anyway. I finished my rant, and now we can do. Do we have any other special news, or are we just doing this now?
No, I mean, the only thing that we're mentioning is that we actually played. You and I played some 4-player Commander games
Oh my god.
last week, and they were like,
win one, and I still felt so good being back to the game. It's like I don't.
It
even,
felt so good.
I just was. Oh my god, it was so good to have everybody around the house and have food and we're chilling. Oh,
Yeah.
It was so normal. It was so.
it was
normal.
really nice. It was really nice. It was a really good day. It was just like full of like hours of like, but not like, no games were like overly long or like went on forever, you know, and everybody
That
was
first one
like,
was a little rough because like
Yeah.
we got Ian out early and then we had to like. He was sitting for a minute, and he was just like, "Can you guys wrap up?" Like, yeah.
I know. I hate that. I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens when like one person. I mean, even if you're the person that does the killing, it's just like like no one wants to see anybody just like sit there while the rest of people play.
I was so mad I couldn't Keening Stone eat death. I was so close in that game.
That was so close, yeah.
So close to everybody in that game with Keening Stone. Oh, it was sweet. Ugh. You know,
Yeah, so that was a good time. That was a good time. It was a nice taste of normality and things to come. So that was really awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yay.
Well, let's rank these EDH cards and how salty we
Let's
feel they
do
are.
it. Let's enter the salt pile.
Enter the salt pile.
It's like the dirt pile, but the salt pile. I think
Salt.
it's- Ooh, okay, I see Blood Moon on there, already quality.
There it is. Okay, there we are. Cool. Voila. Our tier list, everybody, created by me. I had very fun time making all these.
Oh,
This looks
sure.
fun, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Facts.
I
is,
have to say, first of all, I love the way you did this in terms of like the salt list from EDH Rec sorted by number of decks played, because I remember from going through the salt list real quick, if you just go by like the number of like top salted cards, like they're all get this thing out of my sight. They're all just like Winter Orb or like Stasis, you know, and it's just like it's nice to see like a little bit of variety in terms of like I'm looking at what you have lined up and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like I figured like the cards you're gonna see the most are gonna be the cards that we're gonna be able to have the most to talk about, as well as stuff like it's thankfully a decent swath of cards, despite the fact that about 90% of them are blue.
I mean, still.
They're
They're
the
just
saltiest colors, so like, you know, it kind of balances out. Let me actually instead turn this into sharing line. Let's change the screen share settings here. I'm just gonna do
yeah, live your best life, bro. Dude, yawning on stream, so professional.
Very professional. Okay, so we got this, and then I also wanted to.
Oh God.
Oh, you like my otters? I just wanted to open up the folder that I had with the maintenance.
I'm very excited to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this will be fun.
I'm also just like in general very excited to play more Magic.
It was on my other thing. Okay, well then I'll just do cards. It's on my other computer because I made it on my other computer.
What are we doing?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure I had the list up so we could see the number. I had taken screenshots of these beforehand.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, my dumbass had them on another computer. So,
Cool. All right, well, I think we are ready to start.
All right. Well, it's hilarious because we are starting with the number one saltiest card, Cyclonic Rift. 112,461 decks.
Okay.
That's so many decks.
That's a lot of decks. I would only put this personally in a Grown Falls over the table. Mainly because I use Cyclonic Rift, so I'm like, I can't complain that much if I'm going to use it.
Well,
I get it, but like...
overall, like, we use some of these, so therefore there is, like, a level of understanding.
Yeah.
Right,
but
I use, Go ahead.
Like, obviously, if it's countered, great, but I just personally... Like, yeah, I'll groan. I'm not going to do anything more. I'll be like, okay, well, what are we going to do next? And,
Yeah, because I've always found, like, Cyclonic Rift to be a good, like, sweeper. Like, generally, the person wins, hopefully, when they play Cyclonic, like, after they play Cyclonic Rift, like, the next turn.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think, personally, I'm fine putting it at third tier. I think personally it belongs one above because it does, like you just said, like it ends games, but it's not like it ends games in a really slow fashion. I mean, it can be very slow, you know, That's the problem with Cyclonic Rift is if you don't use it right, it really just sets the game back like 2-3 turns. Like, okay, everybody has to put their board back on the battlefield.
Yeah.
But if you have the win in hand and there's something on the board stopping you, overloading Cyclonic Rift on your opponent's end step and then going into your turn with that like clean slate, like so in a way it can end the game in a quick manner. I think it's powerful enough to go on the second tier, but I'm fine with it on the third tier. I think it's a good spot for it.
Yeah,
A groan.
That's the thing. It's a groan. It's like
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually
Also,
the
like-
perfect.
Also, even if it's like an instant win, I think that's different from like getting made salty by an instant win.
Very true.
Like
yeah.
there are cases where like yeah, it'll make me salty, but also it's like I don't know, like probably only if I'm doing pretty good myself. If I'm not doing good, like I'm like
Yeah.
oh whatever, Cyclonic Rift. If I'm like about to win, I'll be like, "Bleh," but that's happened to me
very
before.
true. You guys have convinced me. I think it definitely belongs in the third tier because I have to make the distinction between what is powerful and what is salt-worthy.
Yes. Now speaking of
It's
salt-worthy,
unbeaten skin. Yes, salt-worthy for a lot of folks. Towards the bottom here, in 13,490 decks, Blood Moon.
I
Now,
kind of think we should put Blood Moon at the top. Because I
Yeah.
think
I think so.
that thing can fuck up. Like, I personally, like, Blood Moon is one of the reasons I'm glad I use a lot of basic lands in my deck. But yeah, it's just like, it's just annoying more than anything else. And yeah, it can fuck you up, but just the sheer frustration a card like Blood Moon can do.
Especially
Just-
when you have to think about, like, is this going to set me back a turn? Can I use my removal, or is my only, like, green source that I could use
Yeah.
for this K grip a non-basic?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it belongs on the second tier only because it's not like 100% of the time. Like you Christian just said, if you're playing, or I'm thinking like if you play a monocolored deck and you're already playing like a lot of basics, like Blood Moon's not really going to affect you. But like if you are playing like anything but a monocolored deck, like you're pretty screwed. But also it's like, you know, if you're playing red, it could work in your favor. So I guess it depends. What do you think, Dan? Where do you think it belongs?
It's not a card I've seen a lot, but I do like see the practical application of it. I definitely. Because again,
I mean,
it
I-
depends on, like Christian, I play a lot of basic lands, so it doesn't. I wouldn't say this necessarily gets like directly under my skin. So it definitely feels more like a second tier, like just hey, can anyone handle this? More
Yeah.
than really like getting me salty and under my skin. So I don't know. I say second tier.
I'm okay
Yeah,
with
I
putting
think,
it in second tier.
Yeah.
Like, even
It is.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Jason.
I was just gonna say it is a card that shuts down, like completely shuts down certain archetypes. And when you start playing like competitive Commander, where like you have to run those fetch lands and you got to run those dual lands, you got to like I have decks that have 0 basic lands in them, and if you drop a Blood Moon against me, that's the game. You know, I can't play anything.
Yeah.
But again, it is like situationally, it could be like your worst nightmare, or it could be like nothing. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like like a lot of my green decks will either be like 2 or 3 colors, so I'll have a fair amount of basic lands in there. It's not hard
Yeah.
to get a Crozen Grip off with that. Like, it's fine.
Do that, which is a great card. I love those.
All right, next up, I have to remember which one this is. I believe it is Fierce Guardianship.
Ooh.
If you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell, 3 mana. It comes in at number 4 with 39,815 decks.
I don't know.
Keep counter spell.
The counter spell, like, it's kind of annoying that you don't have to pay for it, but
Yeah.
that's more of like
Yeah.
a boon to the other player than it is like a salt factor for you, in my opinion.
And like,
Yeah,
how
I mean-
often are blue decks like really locking their commander on the board? I mean, some probably are if they're like mono blue or something. Like, I can see this being bad in mono blue, but if it's
Yeah, I
anything
mean-
you steal someone's, like, that's also a factor. But I still put it like within the bottom 2.
Oh, I think it definitely belongs in the bottom too. It's a super powerful card, but it only targets non-creature spells, You have to have your commander, otherwise it's just like a worse negate.
Yeah. You can also
I mean,
just
it's
counter spell for 2 blue. Like,
yeah, it's a crazy powerful card when you're getting to the point of like, you know, like I said before, like there's like really competitive EDH games where like you're getting into these counter wars and you might not, like you are playing so on curve that like you know you're gonna tap out for maybe like your general and what you need to win the game, and you know you're gonna have 0 mana left, and how do you get out of that situation? You get out of it with Fierce Guardianship. But that's really powerful, but I wouldn't say it's that salty. It would leave me that salty.
Yeah.
It would leave me just as salty as like a Pact of Negation or a Force of Will or whatever ends up winning that counter war for you.
yeah, and we have Force of Will right here, so that's another thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say like I'd say a little salty but manageable, because again, it is one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like it's a mind game card. It's a
Yeah.
oh I'm tapped. Oh, you're tapped out. Cool, I can go off. I don't think so.
True that, yeah. I'll put it in the second tier.
Yeah, third tier, or fourth.
Or fourth tier, I guess. Yeah. The
All right.
second from the bottom.
Speaking of counter spells, Mana Drain.
Ooh.
Recently returned, just slightly underneath Fierce Guardianship, 39,119 bucks.
I
Yeah,
would
mean,
put
it's
this.
counterspell and better.
Yeah,
I think. Go ahead.
I would probably. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like. I feel like I'm gonna lose the game if someone uses Mana Drain. I don't feel salty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would put it in the second tier to anyone got removal. And that's just because practically, like, you see Mana Drain, you're just gonna be like, someone please counter that.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
plays, I don't need you having extra mana because I just tried to do that.
Yeah, I think the fact. I mean, I've already talked probably on the show about how I think Mana Drain might be like the best Magic card ever printed. It's like so. It's a counterspell for counterspell mana that gives you that mana.
Even if it's colorless in the right deck, like you could use it.
I think, you know, honestly, because I'm torn between a Groan Falls Over the Table and Anyone Got Removal, but then I think back to when we played recently, most recently, and I mana drained one of Ian's spells, and I was like, listen, dude, I just need the mana. Like, I don't care what you're casting. Like, if I was on the receiving end of that, I would be so salty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a small
like so.
word, especially now that it's been reprinted and more people are going to have it. Like, I only ever saw the original version from Riley, like, and his was like beat up. It was the old one.
Legends one, yeah. I think it's Legends. Yeah.
Legends or something or another. But like, I always remember that card and be like, dang, that card's way better than I thought it was. So yeah, I would say like Anyone Got Removal. Like, I definitely feel like it's one of those ones where you're like, it doesn't necessarily, like, the level of salt isn't like, yeah, but at the same time it's like, yo, this is gonna be like a win more card. Like,
Yeah.
It's like it enables you to. It gets people salty because it jettisons somebody like, you know, like if you are mana draining right, you're getting your double the mana that everybody, you know, if you mana drain on turn 3 for 3 mana, next turn you're getting 7 mana. Like, that's crazy. And it puts you ahead, and like I said before, it can be used purely just to get that mana, and being on the receiving end of like, oh, I'm just trying to like do my own little thing, and like I get mana drained, like it always sucks. You
It's
know?
the worst. It's the worst feeling. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I feel bad doing it, but sometimes, I mean, it needs to be done.
And then to complete the counterspell trifecta, Force of Will. You may pay 1 life and exile a blue card rather than pay its cost. Counter target spell, 5 mana, comes in at 36,117 decks.
Arguably the most powerful counterspell.
Arguably.
Arguably.
Just hard counter for not really all that much drawback.
Yeah, you have to exile a blue card from your hand and lose 1 life, but
You know,
if you're playing strategically, you should have that blue card.
I would only put this on a Groan Falls Over the Table. Because at the end of the day, it's still just a counterspell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So, like,
I agree.
going back to the Guardianship card, like, yeah, you got to worry about, like, do they have a Force of Will? But that's the most, and that might put it into Anyone Got Removal, but it's like a weird borderline for me.
I think I agree with you, Christian. Go ahead.
yeah, like all counter spells are just sort of like I wouldn't necessarily say I'm always salty at a counter spell. Like it really gets me. But there are also this fair amount of times where I'm like, which is again a groan falling over the table.
I think this is also a groan falls over the table because it accomplishes the same thing as the other counter spells. It is better than Fierce Guardianship because it's a straight counter. It's not non-creature. Yeah. But at the same time, and it takes a lot less to get off. You don't have to have your commander on the battlefield. But at the same time, it doesn't jettison you ahead like the way Mana Drain does. So I think a groan falls over the table is quite appropriate.
Yeah, I think we're all agreement on that, yeah. All right, next up, I just have to make sure I know which card this is. Demonic Consultation in 14,388.
Which one does this one do?
Let me bring it. Jesus. Okay. Name for 1 black mana in an instant. Name a card. Remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game and reveal the next card to all players. If this card is named, put it into your hand. If not, remove that card from the game and continue revealing cards from the top of your library and removing it from the game until the named card appears.
Yeah, you name a card and you basically mill until you get that card.
Yeah.
Exile too. Are you exiling it so you can't even get it back? So you might be thinking like, okay, this isn't like crazy powerful or whatever. This is, from at least when I was keeping up with competitive Commander and competitive EDH, if you cast a Demonic Consultation, if you're sitting across from Demonic Consultation in an EDH game, the game's about to end. Because that person is milling their entire deck and then casting Thassa's Oracle, which is the fastest way. It's a 3 mana. You need 3 mana and the game is yours. It's 1 mana to cast Demonic Consultation, and then in response to the Demonic Consultation, it's Thassa's Oracle. In response to Thassa's Oracle, you cast Demonic Consultation. So Demonic Consultation resolves first, you mill your entire deck, then Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, and the ability on that card would basically read, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, draw 1, and then if you have no cards in your library, which you don't, you win the game. So you can, as you can imagine, if you have stuff like Mox Diamond and like those really quick early mana like rocks or whatever, this is like a turn 1 win, turn 2 win.
So at least for me, combos like that do truly get that salt running through my body.
When you
those are just
go
so masturbatory. So I'm just gonna sit here and play the game by myself.
Yeah.
Which I get is what the competitive formats are like. It's a lot of ways with these like big combo decks and stuff like that. But man, having to sit through that person just be like, I'm gonna take my entire deck and plop it, and then just win. From somebody who played Hermit Druid in a deck that played 3 basic lands, that truly grinds my gears.
Because you could always do that combo with Laboratory Maniac, but that required, like, this is getting into like it. I don't want to get like too in depth, but the fact that Thassa's Oracle is 2 mana and Laboratory Maniac is 3 mana opens up like so many more possibilities of just like cards you can search for with certain things. You know, like there are certain. I can't remember the name of the card, but there's like something that reads like search your library for a total of 5 max, CMC cards, put them in your library, and then put everything aside. Well, you can get Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation with that, and it's just degenerate. At the end of the day, it is degenerate.
Sounds degenerate.
Yeah, I put that in the top. Like the way you're explaining it, I put that in the top. Because again, I think it's just like the disrespect factor of, I'm not gonna play against your deck. I'm just gonna do my stuff over here and not care about what you have.
Yeah, like as long as I can do my thing.
Yeah, it's I would put it at the top too, because it's like, I mean, there are ways to play it. I mean, it's also basically like mill your whole deck and get the card you're looking for. So it's a super powerful card because you're basically paying 1 black. Like, but it also like that is a strategy that only really works if you're looking for a specific card you're playing combo. So if if you're playing Demonic Consultation, you're playing a degenerate deck, basically.
Yeah.
It's a degenerate card. So get that thing out of my sight.
Out of my sight.
Get it out of my sight.
How are you supposed to play by the rules if you don't have the?
Oh, wait a minute.
All right.
What's next?
Everyone's favorite draw engine. Consecrated Sphinx, 18,662 decks.
Yeah,
Wow.
I say just anyone got removal. I don't ever hate Consecrated Sphinx, but it is a pain.
Yeah, you just see it come out and like you just. If you're playing a stranger, you will immediately lose respect for them and just know them in ways that you shouldn't really know a stranger within 1 minute.
Yeah.
You'll know everything about
it's-
that person the second that comes out. You're just like, oh, this is how you play.
Yep. I gotta say, I'm probably that guy. I have Consecrated Sphinx in like most of my blue decks. It's such a good card.
It's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, especially
Yeah, it doesn't belong in every deck.
Yeah, but especially in like my Nekusar deck. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm gonna make you guys wheel, and then I'm gonna draw twice as many cards, maybe 8 times as many cards.
I'm doing math real quick. It's whatever 7 plus 14 times 3 is. It's a lot of cards.
Well, so I'm drawing 2 cards for every 1 card everyone draws. So if
Right.
if I play like Wheel of, if I just do a standard wheel for 7 cards,
Yeah.
that means I'm drawing my 7 cards plus 14, 14, and 14.
Yep. It's a really like, especially with certain strategies, it's like, it's insanely powerful. But at the end of the day, like it does die to removal. It doesn't have hexproof or anything like that. It's
very easily doable.
the 6 butt is annoying, but I don't think and I see it a lot more than I see like Demonic Consultation.
Yeah.
Because I think people generally are kind of more like, oh, it's like it's not fair, but it does like it has its weaknesses.
It's not fair, but it is fair because it's killable. But it's not like
Yeah,
it's not very easy to deal with.
it's one of those
Not very
things where
easy to
like,
deal with, strategy wise.
yeah, if someone has a path to exile, like you better believe they're using on that consecrated. But if you're sitting at a table where nobody has that removal, then be prepared to watch this guy draw like a buttload of cards.
Every single card in their deck.
Draw your whole deck, baby. That's how you got to do it.
Yep. All right. Coming in at number 3, 86,526 decks. It's
Ooh.
everyone's favorite. Mystic Study.
Yeah, just
Man.
for the way it affects the social dynamics of the game alone, I'm putting it in to get this thing out of my sight.
Get out of my sight.
Get this thing out of my sight,
cannot-
dude.
you just
I'm gonna
cannot-
make a t-shirt for Mystic Study, and I still get it out of my sight.
You cannot. The thought of hearing someone ask you if you pay the 1 every single turn. I will strangle someone. I will jump across the table and just squeeze the life and watch the life leave your eyes. I'll do it.
Taxing. Well put. Taxing effects are definitely very salt-worthy, and I think this is the most famous and arguably the most powerful of them all. Totally belongs in the top 1.
No question.
Because-
no question.
Yeah. It's like, it's so good.
It's annoying by itself, and then just again the social part of it. Just
Because everybody wants to like play what they have the mana for, and they don't want to give you a card. They're not going to pay the 1,
no.
Yeah,
It's,
it inherently disrupts tempo because if you're gonna want to play like something worth all your mana or use all your mana in a turn, this is like, okay, but do you want to give me an advantage? Because I kind of want to
dude.
get an advantage.
And like, especially when I play decks like, say, my Joro Weatherlight Captain, right, against Rhystic Study. Well, that deck is a race. You're trying to win as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So if you are against a Rhystic Study, you're going to just play into that Rhystic Study. You're not going to pay the 0 drop you play. You're going to be like, he's going to draw 1, draw 1, draw 1, draw. And if you don't win that turn, and then they're playing blue, they're drawing into counter spells, they're drawing into force indications, stuff like that. Force of wills. It's so good. Mana drain,
It's too good. It's too good. It's such a great card. I love it. I love it so much.
So
all right.
great.
Are you again, my friend? This is
Agent of Treachery?
Agent of Treachery.
All right, what is
So
Agent
remind
of...
me what this guy does.
So for 7 mana, for 2/3 human rogue, when it enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents that you don't own, you draw 3 cards. Coming in at 14,815 bucks.
I don't get any salt from that. It's set.
With 7 mana, yeah.
Yeah, it's... If it was like 5 mana, then I'd be worried. But 7?
Yeah.
In what, like with a blue card, in what universe are you gonna wait for turn 7 to play a card like that?
Well,
you
combo
can...
with manager have the mana to play this earlier. I think the like permanent steal is always a tricky thing. It's not like gain control as long as you have control of it or till the end of turn. It is like, this is mine now, and it's any permanent.
I think that is like
That's
so. While
fair.
I agree with you, Christian, like it's not an inherently like super powerful card.
Yeah.
Like I always hate getting my shit. So
Actually, yeah.
I
Yeah, for that I'd move it up to salty but manageable.
I think that's completely reasonable.
Yeah, because again, hard cast, like it's not got a big body, so it'll easily die to like Black Sun Zenith for cheap or anything.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it is just like, and then like you imagine like a what's his name? The Blink dude in blue.
Jedi Navigator.
Jedi Navigator makes this kind of stupid, but again, 7 mana, not perfect.
Yeah. It's not. I remember when it was in standard, it was like really powerful.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Next up, Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, 15,675 units.
Okay, so what does Ugin do? Because I remember seeing this card, but I forget.
Yeah, I played this a lot. I played it myself and against it a lot in Arena, and it is quite powerful. So coming in at 8 colorless mana and 7 loyalty counters to start. +2, it deals 3 damage to any target, color, anything, whatever.
Okay.
-X, exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors. So for 8 mana, you can basically get rid of everything 7 cost or less that has a color.
Okay.
Right.
Or anything less than that if you want to be able to save your own stuff, because there is the drawback of it hitting your own stuff. And then for -10, you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanents from your hand onto the battlefield.
7.
7.
7.
Jackpot.
7.
Jackpot.
So that middle ability, I think, that bumps it up a spot or two, to be honest. I don't know where it
Yeah.
goes, I just know it goes up because of that middle one.
I definitely feel like it's at least a groan falls over the table, because
Yeah.
there's not a lot of amazing and consistently run just straight up planeswalker removal that I've seen, at least, or that I tend to think about.
Right.
And then at the same time, it does have that drawback of, okay, but I can lose some of my stuff too, depending on what's getting hit by this wash.
Yeah. I would say it belongs in either salty but managed. I think it's like powerful enough to throw grown falls over the table, but honestly, like if you're paying 8 mana for a planeswalker, like it's a lot of. I mean, granted it is colorless, so there's no fixing, but by the time you get to 8 mana, like you should have all your.
Yep.
It's an insanely powerful card, but I feel like most times if you've played it, like you've earned it. I feel like there's nothing inherently like salty about his, like he's not like stealing my stuff, like he's bolting my stuff, and he is like bolting, but at the same time, like in my mind, I'm not seeing what's so much worse about this besides the ultimate ability with like doubling season and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing what's so much worse about this than say like all,
Yeah.
which is just sacrifice all colored permanents.
Yeah, exactly. And that gets around, I mean, both of them get around indestructible and like hexproof and stuff, which is always nice. But
Yeah.
again, you're essentially being left with either 8 mana, wipe everything, including my own stuff, or 8 mana, and I can kind of absorb some damage for a little while, like hitting stuff or getting rid of stuff that's like less than 7 mana. So yeah, I would say like salty, but it's manageable. It's not that difficult to screw up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does come into play with a lot of life, so he lets you like have a lot of fun, play around with the life total for a few turns.
Exactly. So,
Crazy good card, but usually if I see an Ugin, I'm like, okay, that's really a threat, but
That being said, there is always the tendency of Planeswalker, kill it.
True. Yeah. It will be targeted.
Yeah. So next up, we've got yes. Triumph of the Horde. 4 mana sorcery until the end of turn. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and infect.
Ooh.
17,291 decks. So this is a finisher. You know, this is like,
solid
I'm
finisher.
gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 mana, that's a pretty powerful ability, considering something like Overwhelming Stampede will give you like 5 mana, but do like a big power boost in trample. This is more like, okay, I got trample and now I'm kind of like slip through and kill you.
Yeah. It's an instant speed, right?
Sorcery actually. So
Sorcery,
Well,
right.
sorcery.
I would say like salty but manageable because it's like a finisher, but it's not like particularly
Yeah.
gonna
I'm
ruin everything.
Yeah, I mean, Infect is a pretty salty mechanic in general, but when I actually like take the time to think about it, I'm just like, it's bad,
Yeah.
but it's only for the one turn, you know?
I mean, exactly. It's only for the one turn. A lot of the times this is used to person in particular, which kind of like, adds to the salt factor in my mind. But it's a sorcery. It's projected. You can always counter it. I don't know. I mean, I'd say salty but manageable. It's a really powerful. But yeah, I'm not like getting too butt over. Like, there's nothing about like because it's ending the game. Like, you're either playing Triumph of the Hordes or you're playing Over Stampede. Something.
Yeah.
It's the same end result. The game is going to be over.
Like a very specific deck that plays it, whereas like everything else has an applicable value to any deck. This is mostly like I need to be wide, as wide as I possibly can, to really make this like scary and effective.
Yeah.
Very
for
true.
sure.
Yeah.
It's a really good card, though.
All right. 4 shards coming in at 14,472 decks. 3
Whenever-
mana. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Ooh.
So I will say,
Truly get salty over an Aura Shards unless I'm playing a deck that's completely threatened by it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, I would say anyone got removal, but really, unless you're playing an artifact deck, like, there are some people who do all enchantment decks because they're weird, but, like...
yo, I got my treasure deck right here. You calling us weirdos?
Yes.
But yeah, like it's very specific targets. It doesn't necessarily ruin everyone's day. It can, but the May ability also makes it kind of even, where it's like, okay, I don't have to blow up your Soul Ring. I can blow up your Soul Ring if I want to. But
True that, yeah.
I don't have to be mean with this card. There's
I
like,
think,
a couple cards that I could think about. Like, isn't there something that makes everything an enchantment? Like that.
yeah.
Story, but at the same time, it's like it's not terrifying. Like, I would definitely say salty but manageable. Honestly, I don't even go down to don't even worry. Like it's. A
Really?
card. I remember the.
This
early
one's
days
all
of
over the
playing
place.
I know. Like I remember like the early days of this card. Like I hated it, but at the same time, like I don't feel like I see it that often anymore. At least among us.
I
And
would...
I feel like
it's like it's even more manageable because it doesn't necessarily hit everything.
I would put
Okay,
it
go
at
ahead.
a groan falls over the table, but borderline was salty but manageable, because I think Dan's sort of convincing me on some of this stuff.
Yeah, I would go with a Groan Falls over the table because in a deck that uses this and uses it right, nobody is getting enchantments or artifacts out. It's just like it shuts down complete art. Like I run this in my token deck, and there's times where one creature, but I'll have like a doubling season and a copy of a doubling season, right? So then I have 4 creatures. So then like, every time I play one, I'm blowing up 4 artifacts or enchantments. If the deck uses it right. Like, if you're playing a token deck and somebody plays R Shards, there's a Groan Fall. Because that's archetype, I would say salty but manageable.
Yeah, I think I can be convinced for Ground Falls over the table, because again, it is one of those things where it's like all right, now I gotta deal with this. Like, again, with my personal experience, I wouldn't necessarily say I like hate it so much, but that's also because I tend to play a lot of decks with a lot of creatures.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's grown worthy. It's grown worthy.
It is grown worthy because like, oh, now I don't, because everybody does, like, not everybody has artifact. And someone plays an art strategy, you're like, well, I guess I'm not playing a Soul Ring, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Exactly. All right, 18,400 decks contain.
Hey!
Bite. Vigilance. Other creatures you control get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. It is a 4/7.
So I have this in my Aurelia deck. I don't get to get it out very often, but every time I do, it's very fun for me and very not fun for everyone else.
It is so frustrating to have a permanent -2/-2 on all your things.
Yes,
it is.
It literally, and like it's really -4/-4 because the other person's got +2/+2. It's that secret thing people don't pick up
combat-wise,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Combat-wise, yeah. That's very true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, well, Aurelia is all about combat, the way I play it, so.
Yeah.
And like this with token decks, this with generally anything that goes wide, like inherently makes you more of a threat.
Yeah.
I honestly am like not that like. I mean, it's a crazy powerful card, but I feel like anything that is just purely affects like combat strategies. I don't know. I wouldn't really worry about that too much, to be honest with you. But that's just.
I think that also in and of itself can be in the right deck. It's partially a board wipe, right? So you're still getting sort of set for sort of a board wipe.
Like if someone's got a weenie deck or a weenie token deck.
Exactly.
Elish Norn
deck would not want to see this.
Yeah. I would say put it in anyone got removal, because even if it isn't the worst thing ever, it's still just very annoying to have out.
I think so. I think that's
annoying. I'll be the outlier on this and say that I'm not too threatened by it, and I understand the salt factor of being like, okay, maybe like I wouldn't want to play against this with like my Grenzo deck. That just means I can't play my general, you know?
Exactly.
Like it's just not happening. So for certain,
the kind of stuff that shuts down.
Yeah, I'm fine with it going there.
All right. Well, we got a Praetor, we got an Elder Dragon, we got a bunch of counter spells, and now we have ourselves an Eldrazi. Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, second to last, coming in 13,977 decks.
So
10 mana, 12/12. When you cast it, draw 4 cards. It has Annihilator 4. When it's put into the graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles its graveyard into his or her library. These cards make me inherently, at least minorly salty.
Yeah.
Because I love milling people out, and these cards piss me off when I have to mill someone.
I just don't like. I'm salty against Eldrazi inherently. I play some Eldrazi, so I shouldn't talk too much shit. But I was looking through my decks and I discovered I had a Void Winnower and Kruthix, and I was like, I really shouldn't be talking in that case. But
nice.
Yeah. Kozilek, I put it in anyone got removal just because, like, objectively, it's a card that you do not want. Well, also the removal would have to be, like, exiling, but still, let's...
Well, I don't think it's indestructible, right?
I don't believe it is, no. Is it?
No, I don't know if Kozilek is.
It is not?
No, it's not. It's not indestructible. I would say it Groan falls over the table because it's an obvious... But it doesn't necessarily, like, yes, it draws them, but it doesn't necessarily shut down any strategies. It doesn't, like, completely, it doesn't stop you from any... I mean, the Annihilator 4 will get to you, not that turn, but it will get to you. But I think it's just, like, a really powerful, like, just good card. Like, you never want to be on the receiving end of it, but it's not like it, like... It's not like, with, like, Blood Moon, where, like, you're, like, I
would also say that if you're playing in a big EDH group, if Kozilek comes out, that person just basically makes themselves a target, and I feel like a lot of people inherently know that. So that does diminish the salt factor a little bit.
Yeah. I definitely think it grown, because like you do also have to hard cast it for that 4 cards, so
yeah. It's crazy powerful, but like I think it would be a groan.
Yep. I like a good groan. Feels good.
Good grow.
Good grown. Good grown. Okay, cool. Next up,
Ooh, one of my
got
favorites.
Raider of Behemoth, 20,741 decks for 8 mana. It's a 5/5 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control, including itself, gain trample and +X/+X to the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control.
Yeah,
Another
so
swimmer, another killer, another just green murder everybody something or other.
definitely goes into
Yeah.
anyone got removal for me just because it comes out and you need removal or you are going to lose.
Yeah, everyone.
Um,
Especially with the Raider of Behemoth.
I think that it's more than a groan, but it's less than a get this thing out of my sight. Like, I don't like seeing it, but I also know what I'm dealing with. I know, like, it's just in that moment. Yeah, like, I know in that moment it's a problem, but it's not like Ristic Study where I'm like, oh, here we go. Or like Blood Moon, oh, here we go. It's just, okay, let's step it up and see what we can do here.
So I guess my question is for you guys in this ranking stuff. What would put for you Great Hope Behemoth on a different tier than Triumph of the Hordes? Because I feel like they're both green finishers, and Great Hope Behemoth actually requires double the mana to get there, and you have to have more of a board state. So I'm curious what puts it at the higher, like above Triumph of the Hordes.
Triumph of the Hordes is lockable in a lot of ways, right? Because in the way that Triumph of the Hordes is like, okay, if I can at least get enough butts to stop this, yeah, you know what, Jason, you're actually making a good point. I'm like half convincing myself out of this.
I think it also has to do with the reputation of the cards in general.
True that,
like, you have to consider the whole metagame around it. Triumph of the Hordes and Craterhoof the Behemoth arguably do the same thing, but I think Craterhoof just feels more final, I guess. Triumph of the Hordes, that's more of a mid-game play, in my opinion. Like, you're trying to end it...
You're stretching for it.
Yeah. Like, you're trying to end it in the mid-game, but even then, like, you also have to consider, if you're in the mid-game, you might not have as many opportunities to make Triumph of the Horde work. With Craterhoof Behemoth, you always know you play it towards the end of the game. You always make sure you have all the creatures out that you need. And then you play it, and yeah.
That's it. The game's over, yeah.
Definitely kill everybody more, rather than I feel like Christian's making a good point. The Triumph of the Horde has definitely killed one person more.
Yeah. I think Craterhoof Behemoth would belong like one tier above Triumph of the Hordes for that reason.
It's very groany, I would say.
And I also think that I also just realized you could Craterhoof when I enter. It's not when I cast it. You could, if you need to. I mean, you could blink it. Deadeye Navigator it.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. So it is more shenanigans you can do with Triumph of the Hordes, which I guess the most powerful thing you could do is like redirect it or copy it or something like that. But no, I mean, I've never seen somebody like play Triumph of the Hordes and then copy a Triumph of the Hordes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is gonna be all on me. The number 2 most used card, 90,887 decks. Just, I'm already saying get this thing out of my sight. I hate this card so much.
Is this the number of this is just the most used cards, period?
Yeah.
Holy cow! Smothering Tide is up there.
From the salty list, though. Like, I'm
okay,
still
gotcha.
I'm still in top 100 saltiest cards. We still got.
Gotcha. Okay, I was like, I didn't know Smothering Tide was like the second most. I mean, it could be for all I know. It's a powerful. But
it's such a white staple. Like, I
feel
like any white deck that doesn't run this is like any primarily white deck that doesn't run this is bad. And I hate this card. I hate this card so much. It's different than like Ristic Study in my mind because it's like not only does it cost more for the tax, but you're inherently giving your opponent more mana. It's one thing to give your opponent more cards. Like I think that like drawing more cards out of your deck is essentially an efficient way to win. But giving your opponent more mana just by you doing the first thing, the third thing you do on your turn is draw a card.
Yep.
And then, do you want to take 2 of your mana by turn 4 to prevent me from having 5 mana next turn, and then as it goes around the table, it becomes 6 mana and 7 mana, and then I
Yep.
have 8 mana on turn 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it for sure belongs in the top tier. It's another, and it's insanely strong. And like you said, I think the only white deck I have that does not run this is my SRAM deck, which is trying to win before you really you have a need for it, you know? And that's such a weird deck to begin with. It's such an outlier. Every white deck should really be running. It's so, it's like, for sure a drone will fall over the table. Anybody will ask you for a move, and then people will say, get it out of my
Yeah.
So.
I will always say, give me every Smothering Tithe that I want to set them on fire.
Yeah.
Get these things out of my sight forever.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I think that was too easy. But next up,
That's too easy.
37,949. It's Fairies Protection.
I don't get salty at all.
Yeah, I don't get salty at this card.
You gain protection from everything. Your life total can't change, and permanents you control phase out. And then
Yeah.
you exile it.
You're just safe for a turn. I don't think that's salt-inducing at all.
No, and I honestly wouldn't even put it in salty but managed. Like I would put it kind of low end. Like it's just
I'd
like
put it don't even worry.
Because like at the most,
eye block.
yeah, the most it is you're just sort of like delaying something for a turn.
Yeah.
Like
Or just like countering a removal essentially. Like if you're trying to board wipe me, I'll just be like,
I think this would be in a situation where like the only time I would really be salty against like a Teferi's Protection, say I'm about to like deck myself and win by decking myself,
yeah.
and somebody else like Teferi's Protection go. For whatever reason, the next turn I would draw and then lose, and then you win. It's such a weird I'm not really salty if you play Teferi's Protection. Like I'm trying to think of like ways in which it would be salty. Like the only time, like I remember there's been. I thought I'd win, and then somebody would Teferi, and then it's like, oh shit. Well, I mean, I'm salty, but I was just about to win. So like, do I really deserve to be like, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it. And then it's like I have until my next turn to win anyway, and yeah.
Yeah, nice and simple. And
Nice and
as
simple.
Jason mentioned earlier, Das's Oracle is also on this list in 28,793 decks.
which one is this?
Yes.
So it's, as Jason mentioned, with that combo with fucking Demonic Consultation, where it's when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. So essentially, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them on top of your library, the rest on the bottom in any order, or in a random order, and if X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, win the game. So if you have 1 or 2 cards in your library, you play this, you'll win the game.
Right. Okay.
It's
Or
a you
one
win
or
the
zero.
game card. Yeah.
Yeah, one or less than or equal to 1 card left in your deck.
I mean, okay, so yeah, it's part of a very salty combo, but I'd say it's the less salty part.
Yeah, because it comes in at like
having to get it by like if you use demonic consultation, that's more on demonic consultation for causing the salt. If you have this by itself, I would say it's salty but manageable, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels like CDH salty, but not necessarily EDH salty. So,
I would
yes,
agree.
it's manageable.
I would agree. I think demonic consultation, like nearly 100% of the very worthy style, and it's just a good card.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to win with it. You could have like a deck with a lot of blues, and you look at the top stuff, but you might look at the top like 14 cards and then draw like really good.
Yeah.
It's a good card, but I think I agree with Christian in the fact that with that combo, demonic consultation is really the one that like gets that salt going.
And the most expensive card coming to on this top list, Force of Will being the second at $129 to $113. Yeah, it's great. 17,153 decks, $1,100 on
Oh my
Card Kingdom,
God. I mean-
Unbelievable.
on PCG player.
Okay, so here's the deal. This is gonna be a weird reason I don't think it's that salty, but it is just so expensive. How many actual players have this card?
Yeah,
Like,
I know
at
you
that
do,
point-
Jason, but, like,
At that point,
I have one.
Yeah, at that point, if someone plays it, I'm just impressed. I'm impressed that you have
Yeah.
the money. Like, I don't believe in materialism, but I will make an exception for someone with Gaia's Cradle. Like,
Yeah, especially with like the original Gaia's Cradle. Didn't they?
Right.
They made the like enchantment flip one in Exalium.
Yeah.
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 But like, there's not really been another Gaia's Cradle.
Right.
No.
I mean, it is on the reserve list, so that, like,
Oh, we lost him. But yeah, no, I'm with you because it's like it's impressive, but at the same time, it's like, well, you earned it, man.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Like,
It's all good, buddy.
Magic shouldn't be pay to win, but, you know.
It
It shouldn't be, but like, it is ridiculous. Like, the price of these cards are getting preposterous. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I have one, and I paid a good amount of money for it. But like, would I pay what it's asking for right now for this? Like, no, I'm not going to pay
No.
$1,000 for this.
Now,
I did pay 3 figures, but I also like traded in a bunch of stuff, and like it's one of the. It used to be like like you'd work towards it, and it was manageable. Now it's like if you obtain a Gaia's Cradle now, you just have like money to burn.
yeah.
You're
Now,
Jeff Bezos.
my initial instinct, honestly, is to put this in a Grown Falls over the table. Because land removal, I mean, land removal isn't super common, but you just need the one land removal, and then you don't have a problem. You can you could do board wipes to get rid of creatures. There are a lot of ways to keep it in check. Like I still worry about it a lot. Like you could put it. Yeah, exactly. You could put it in anyone got removal, but like my initial thing is just a Grown will fall over the table. And if we're playing in a big game with 5 people, it'll be like, oh, so we're all just gonna dunk on the guy with the Gaia's Cradle.
With the Gaia's Cradle, yeah. Gaia's Cradle is like
for Jason when he plays Omnath.
Yeah.
Gaia's Cradle is, in my opinion, the best land ever printed. You drop it untapped, and it can make up to like whatever. You can make a crazy amount of mana untapped. You can
make infinity mana for 0.
It opens up. Yeah, exactly. Like if I go infinite with my token deck and like make infinite squirrels, then it taps for an infinite number of mana. Or even the fact that it could just, if you have 3 creatures, just a normal number of creatures, a land that taps for 3 green, it's crazy powerful. It doesn't like. I think it kind of like. I would get salty for it for the same reasons you would get salty for it, Christian.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not, I can't because I own one, so I'm not allowed to get salty for it for this particular card.
Listen, we all own some of these cards. We're allowed to get salty when we play against them. The Gaia's Cradle is one of those ones that's debatable because it is so expensive. You're like,
It's
okay,
so
I guess
crazy.
good for you, but also fuck you because you have money to spend on a Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, for real. It's a monstrous.
And finally, what is this, number 6, 3, 4,
It's under Mana
number
Drain.
6. So 38,073 decks. Narset Parter of the Veils comes in with 5 loyalty. 1 blue, so 3 total mana for this Planeswalker. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. And then for -2, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can get a non-creature, non-land from among them, put it in your hand, and the rest of the bottom of your library in any order. This is pretty crazy. Like
It's really powerful.
It's very
super
powerful.
powerful.
Yeah,
But-
it's the cheapest part of this list.
But I think we also have to consider for a Planeswalker, it's pretty easy to kill.
It's pretty
It
easy
only
because
has-
people
it only
don't
has
have
5
sometimes,
left.
dude.
Like,
I mean, to be honest, a lot of people are casting this Planeswalker and never using the ability because that static ability of each opponent can't draw more than 1 each turn
yeah, like
is really strong.
so I would say that induces Salt, but only for like maybe 2 or 3 turns, and there might be pivotal turns. But it's a card that's its days are numbered the second it comes onto the field.
So
Well, I was gonna
essentially,
say-
it's multi but manageable.
Like maybe a Grown falls over the table because
I
nobody
think
likes
it
them.
belongs in a Grown falls over the table because if you're using this card, I don't want to say correctly because it's not a correct way to use it, but if you're using this card a certain way, like this card in I don't know if you play this in your Nekusar deck, you wheel, everybody gets 1 card, and you get 7,
Well, maybe I could just put this in for Hull Breach. It does the same thing. It doesn't get me 15 mana.
It doesn't get you 15 minutes. It's a nice middle ground, yeah. It's a really powerful card. I know this does work in like Legacy too. Like there was a Legacy deck that ran this in like Teferi's Puzzle Box for a while. I don't know if there still is.
Love Puzzle Box.
Yeah. It's definitely something that, you know, I don't get worried about it because, let me see, how would I put this? I don't get worried about Narset because of like my own strategies. Like I can play around not being able to draw more than one card a turn. I'm worried about what they're playing in addition to the Narset. Like exactly like I said, like a Winds of Change. Like you can play a Narset and a Winds of Change on turn 4 and put everybody at one card in hand, and you have however many you have, and that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Remind myself. I don't know what this card does. I haven't seen it in a while, so yeah. I would definitely say grown. It's very
one mana for you know, everybody draws one and discards their hand is like super good.
Yeah.
Winds of Change might be good in Negasar. It did get a little bit of a price bump over like a few months ago. Yeah. Yep.
You know, I still need so many. Negasar is so expensive if you really boil down to it. I need so many other rules in that deck. Anyway.
Yeah.
This is good. This is nice. This is very average too.
Let me take a look at this.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah.
I think
very solid average overall.
Yeah. It's most of the stuff our grown falls over the table.
Yeah.
I think everything is worthy of whatever category it belongs. I'm glad we got one and don't even worry.
Yeah.
I was worried we were going to use that.
I mean, these are the 20th. These are the 20 saltiest cards. So, do we have any honorable mentions we want to talk about? Because I got one.
Let's take a look here.
Let's just go through the list real quick.
Because I saw Vorinclex Voice of Hunger, and that 100%. I fucking hate this card. And Jason knows exactly why.
Yeah.
Most of the Praetors all suck.
Jin-Gitaxias too, but Jin-Gitaxias is 10 mana, and it's blue. Like, I do want the red one but I don't.
Jason, were you there? We got Jokel Hops like 5 times by Fred.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
That's
weird.
How does that happen 5 times?
I honestly, it was just like one game, and somehow I forget how he kept recasting it, but it was just, oh god, it hurts so much.
How many Jockle Hops?
It hurts so much. But like Jockle Hop, like what is this? Like who plays?
Seems like a lot of this stuff is just like, you know, it stacks pieces, or like, you know, they got the Tabernacle, of course, is really smokestack.
Fuck these cards. Send triplets.
Yeah, send triplets.
Sunder.
And
Mindslaver.
Mindslaver just locks you out of the game. Urza.
Mindslaver's more funny than anything to me. Like, I'll be annoyed, but I'll just be like, oh, okay.
Let's see.
Wait, go to Grand Arbiter Augustin. I feel like I remember that one. It's down.
Oh, I hate Grand Arbiter.
Everyone hates Grand Arbiter.
Oh yeah, duh.
I used to play this in my my Brago deck, and oh god, it was so fun. I just be like, I'm gonna play this 2-mana commander.
Oh, white blue people. Come on, man.
This card was silly. This card was so silly. I've seen this card do so much work.
I hate being across the table from this card because
it was so dumb.
If they're playing like the competitive build or like one of the competitive builds of that deck, it's just extra turns. All you do is just take extra turns, and it's not fun.
Let's see. Warp World. Blightsteel Colossus always.
Ooh, love Blightsteel. Nether Void.
All spells are countered. Wow.
Why is that a black card?
Because it's super old.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same price as Guy's Grip.
Same price as Guy's Grip, yeah. Humility, great card.
Wait, go back to Humility. Which one is that? Oh, that's fun.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Base, Rambleverse, Oko, Oko.
Oh my god, Oko. I played a game with Oko. Okay, so I put Oko on my token deck and played a single game with him, and I got pulled aside by my friend who was like, dude, you really shouldn't be playing Oko. Like, it's not fun to play against. And I was like, I'll take it out. Like, it's completely reasonable.
Did you guys hear that on Arena, they brought Oko back, but did a Hearthstone style, like, we're gonna change this card to, like, nerf it a little bit, and now they gave it...
No way.
It's +1 is -1.
What?
Yeah.
That's kind of
I
weird.
hate that.
For Magic, that's kind of
I-
weird.
I like that for like balance things, but it's weird
Yeah.
because it's Magic. Like
Exactly.
Hearthstone's one thing. Hearthstone's one thing where it's like those cards are all digital. There's no physical like anything at all. So
Yeah.
it's like a weird thing where it's like, okay, you're taking a card that does exist in the real world and then changing it so it essentially becomes completely different. Are you gonna go back and be like all Oko are now errata to its +1 is a -1? Like that would be
Exactly. And I
It's
don't.
insane.
They already kind of did that with the companion rules, which I like. I agree that the companion rules were too powerful to begin with, but like, I really don't like the fact that that's like, and I hate it's like, I hate the phrase or like the idea of like, oh, it's the precedent it sets, but it does kind of set a precedent of like, okay, you can kind of change,
Yeah.
whatever. And I don't like that.
Siren
Seems like there's a lot
is
of.
always frustrating.
Wait, go to
There's a
Sire of
lot of-
Insanity. At the beginning of each NSW's player just Hellbent, baby.
Yeah, but for
And
6
I
mana,
am
like,
hellbent.
You know, I would enjoy that. I'm surprised I never made a black-red deck, but
Gilded Drake
Gilded
is now. Look at how much Gilded Drake is right now.
ooh,
Holy crap! It was probably because I think Riley ran this in his Mariki variant thing too.
I think he did because I remember playing against Gilded Drake a lot back on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Chulane.
Chulane is so good, but he's like too good. It's like, it's not fun. I took apart my Chulane deck.
Oh, Traxa.
Yeah, Trax is frustrating.
Ring of Silence. All Eldrazi are frustrating.
yeah.
Ulamog is the indestructible one.
This one. I always wanted to play it, could never get one. Oh, Kinnan. So I play it in Arena and Brawl, and then I also, like, I've seen decks with it, and I'm like, this is good, but I haven't seen it necessarily be, like, broken.
Yeah, I run it in Treasure, but I haven't really had the chance to use it.
Yeah, but, like, doubling all your rocks is just so, and, like, all your, anything that's not a land that produces mana is just it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Skitherix. I love Skitherix.
In fact. I mentioned Ancient Treachery, Boil? I guess.
Destroy all islands. Palancron. Gotta love that. Palancron is another one of those where, like, if you're playing Palancron, you're just winning right now, and it's a combo. Like, you don't just play Palancron. Like, you combo with Palancron, and that's all it does.
Animar, float infinite mana, win the game. Oh.
Yeah.
Bribery's silly, but not terrible. Zur always makes me roll my eyes.
Golos. I love Golos.
Golos, it's good, but it's like, that's stupid for 7 mana. That's a stupid ability for 7 mana.
It's so good.
Nothing else that's really like big, unless you're
Doomsday. That was the card I was talking about. Doomsday is the card that you what is it? Search your library for it's 5 cards. That's what it is. You Doomsday and you do like Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle, and then like whatever you need to like draw into it or whatever. You know?
Yeah. I played against a deck that was like this. It was pretty crazy. I think it was pretty Thassa's Oracle, but I definitely remember like somebody playing Doomsday against me. I forget who. Somebody in the game.
Yeah, Doomsday is definitely like you're comboing with Doomsday and that's it. Why else would you put 5 cards to reduce your library to 5 cards unless you're trying to win like that turn? And then Tabernacle, one of the most famous and one of the most expensive cards in the game.
48.
At 4,800. Yeah, Legends cards are insane.
So, I do love that, like, the drop off. It's like 4,800, 1,100, 1,100, 480.
Yeah.
And then all the way down. What's the cheapest one? Cheapest one being Warp World.
Warp World, yeah. What's Impending Disaster?
During your upkeep, if there are 7 or more lands in place, sacrifice. Okay, yeah. It's a lot of, like, land destruction.
A lot of land destruction, a lot of you can't do this stuff.
A lot of counters, a lot of blue. Where do I sort by color, actually? There it is. Colorless. Mixed blue.
All that blue.
White.
What's the least? Probably, was it green? Maybe. I think maybe black, yeah.
Yeah. There's black as all those. It's in there. It's in here, but like overall, yeah. Black is probably the least salty. Yeah.
I mean, black, I don't know. There's always like that trade-off with any black card where the player usually has to pay life or sacrifice something.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason it's less salty.
There's a lot
It's
of
more
also
balanced,
black-
yeah.
Yeah, black is always really big on like balancing and trade-offs, so
Yeah, and a lot of these are like they actively prevent people from playing the game in a lot of ways. You have your hand size is 0 essentially unless you have something in front of it. Tapping things, destroying lands, preventing your mana from doing a lot. Like
Exactly. Taking extra
all
turns.
taking extra turns. It's all stuff that like actively prevents you from being able to play the game and allowing whoever's playing these cards to be playing.
Yeah.
Silly.
incredibly silly.
Ugh. Well, that was
Damn.
fun. I like how
I'm
this
on
list-
Pilus. Oh yeah, it's really good. I like this tier list stuff. We need to do more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it should be. Cool.
Alright. Unless you guys have any other news, I think that's it for us here today.
No,
Yeah, I don't.
No, I'm good for right now.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks anyone who was watching. This has been fun with nothing.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I love
Yeah.
doing this every other week. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is.
very much so. Oh, I got somebody who tried to spam me. That's fun.
What would they do? Were they like?
They want me to become famous. If I buy followers and primes, visit and viewers on bigfollows.com.
Dude, buy those followers. There's a guy
Oh,
in
yeah.
one of my discords. He has like 3,000 followers, and he always has a total of 1 viewer, unless we're rating him. So, yeah.
Sometimes it be like that. I have a few people I follow that are like that.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, thanks for the raid. I don't know what raids do, but thanks for the raid the other day, Christian.
Yeah, rating is basically like when you're done your stream, you can just direct your viewers to that person's stream. So
So,
Oh, cool.
What's the difference between that and hosting? Is it just
hosting is,
running-
I mean, I think when you raid, you automatically host anyway.
Yeah.
But hosting is like, let's say you're not even online at all, so you just host someone, and if someone goes to your channel, they'll see whoever you're hosting.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
It's like
Oh,
part
wait,
of rating, but it can also be its own thing.
That's what it is. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they do it on Awful Level League all the time. Is that they always find somebody who's like very low, like low viewers who's like streaming to like 1 or 2 people, and then they're just like, hey, here's like the dozen of us that are watching this silly comedian playing Smash Brothers and making
It's always nice.
levels.
Yeah, that is always fun.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that'll do it for today then.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll
thanks for
catch you
tuning
guys
in,
next